You hear the name Jake Paul, and what comes to mind? Viral videos, for sure. Controversy, definitely. And of course, that wild pivot into boxing that, let's be honest, a lot of people wrote off as just a stunt. But here's the thing. Behind all that spectacle, a really sophisticated business empire has been built. So let's get into it, because this isn't just about a personality anymore. It's a massive financial phenomenon. $100 million. That's the estimated net worth we're looking at for Jake Paul. And look, this isn't just leftover YouTube ad money. No way. This is the result of a very deliberate, very calculated strategy to turn online fame into real, tangible business assets. And to really get how he pulled it off, you just have to follow the audience. And what an audience it is. I mean, just look at these numbers from his big Netflix fights. The Mike Tyson event, it peaked at a staggering 65 million viewers at one time. That made it one of the most streamed sporting events, well, ever. Even his fight against a real heavyweight contender, Anthony Joshua, pulled in 33 million viewers from around the world. These are numbers that don't just rival traditional sports broadcasts. In some cases, they absolutely crush them. The guy commands attention on a scale that's hard to wrap your head around. So that brings us to the big question, right? The whole point of this explainer. How did he do it? How did a kid who got his start on Vine, a 6-second video app, and then got fired by Disney, somehow manage to build a $100 million empire in media and sports?
Okay, so to figure that out, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we're going to look at that crucial pivot from creator to contender. Then, we'll dive deep inside the three main engines of his business empire. We'll also have to tackle the huge controversy around his boxing career, and finally, we'll take a look at what could happen next.
All right, first up, the pivot. You see, before there was any business empire, there was a brand, and that brand was built on a very specific and pretty wild career path. His journey really kicked off back in 2016 on Vine and then Disney. But the real turning point, the moment everything changed, was in 2017. Getting fired by Disney, you'd think that would be a career ender, right? Well, for him, it was liberating. It let him build this more provocative, unfiltered brand. Then, in 2020, came the masterstroke. He gets into professional boxing. Just a year later, he's not just a fighter anymore. He founds Most Valuable Promotions, becoming a promoter. And this all leads up to 2025, when he actually stepped into the ring with a legit heavyweight champ, Anthony Joshua.
So that whole pivot laid the foundation. Now let's look at the actual machine he built on top of it. His wealth, it's not just coming from his fight purses. It's being generated by three distinct but totally interconnected business engines. Engine number one, and this is the big one, is his own promotion company, Most Valuable Promotions, or MVP. This was the move that took him from just being the talent to being the owner of the entire show. Now, the key business concept here is something called vertical integration. What does that mean? Well, in simple terms, instead of just getting a paycheck to fight, he owns the company that organizes the fight. He's the main attraction and he's the boss. This lets him control everything, and more importantly, it lets him keep the profits that would normally go to some other promoter. And this right here perfectly explains the financial genius of it. As Social Life magazine points out, he basically gets paid twice. He gets his fighter's purse, and then he gets the profits as the owner. Think about it. For the Mike Tyson fight, his guaranteed purse was $40 million. But when you add in the promotional fees, his total take for that one night was probably closer to 50 or even 60 million. All right, engine number two is his move into the sports betting world. He co-founded a company called Bet, and you can think of this as his high-risk, high-reward play. So he co-founded this thing in 2022, and right out of the gate, Bet raised $50 million, which put its value at $300 million. His piece of that is a huge asset, at least on paper. And their strategy is actually pretty clever. They focus on micro-betting. So you're betting on individual plays in a game, not just the final outcome. It's perfect for the shorter attention spans of his social media followers. Now, is it going to succeed? Who knows? But if Bet hits it big, it could multiply his wealth many times over. And that brings us to engine number three, the one that powers everything else, his huge direct-to-consumer social media machine. This is where it all started. This is his power base. I mean, just look at the scale here. We're talking over 50 million followers across just these three platforms. That is a built-in marketing machine that most corporations would kill for. He doesn't have to go out and buy expensive ads to promote a fight or his betting app. He just talks directly to his customers for free. This kind of owned distribution is an incredibly valuable asset. Of course, you can't have a conversation about Jake Paul's success without getting into the central controversy of his career, and that is the clash between his undeniable entertainment value and the constant questions about his legitimacy as an athlete. This comparison really puts everything into perspective. Paul's reported purse for just one fight against Mike Tyson was more than 6 times the entire career earnings of a median NFL player. So what does that tell you? His economic model has completely disconnected from the traditional path of a professional athlete. And this quote just nails his strategy. He understood that making money from casual fans is way more profitable than trying to win over boxing purists. He figured out that hate watching an event generates the exact same pay-per-view dollar as fan watching it. But this strategy eventually led him to a very real and very dangerous test. In late 2025, he stepped in the ring with a former 2-time unified heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua. And the tale of the tape here shows you just how big of a leap this was. Joshua had a 5-inch height advantage, he was nearly 30 pounds heavier, and he had way more experience. This wasn't just entertainment anymore, this was a serious athletic risk. And the consequences were severe. He was knocked out cold in the 6th round and taken to the hospital. The diagnosis was a double fracture of his jaw. He needed surgery. They had to put in 2 titanium plates and even remove some of his teeth. That fight was a brutal reminder that while entertainment can get you in the door, the physical reality of elite heavyweight boxing is no joke. So, after a humbling loss and a really serious injury, what happens next for the Jake Paul empire? Well, all signs seem to point toward a clear shift in strategy. Now, there is a comeback fight planned for 2026, but the long-term play here seems to be a transition away from him being the main event himself. The focus is likely going to shift to his role as a full-time promoter, growing MVP by signing other fighters, and building up his business assets like Bet. He's essentially moving from the role of player to the role of owner. So when you boil it all down, his career really gives us a powerful new blueprint for the creator economy. Step 1, build a massive, loyal audience. Step 2, monetize that audience, not with ads, but with businesses that you actually own. And step 3, treat controversy not as a problem, but as fuel for the fire. And that leaves us with one final thought. Jake Paul proved that in today's world, attention is the single most valuable currency. His career has been unconventional, it's been controversial, and it's been undeniably effective. So the question now is he just a one-off, a total anomaly, or is this the new blueprint for how fame and fortune are going to be built for years to come?